Hi, I'm Dr. Ann Kerr, President of Florida Southern College, and it is my pleasure to introduce this project on the English madrigals.
The madrigal was the most important secular genre of 16th century Italy. What made the madrigal so influential was the emphasis composers put on enriching the meaning and impact of the text through the musical setting.
Composers explored new effects of imagery, expressivity, characterization, and dramatization that paved the way for dramatic forms such as opera. Madrigals are through composed with new music for every line of poetry.
Most madrigal texts consisted of a single stanza with a moderate number of 7 or 11 syllable lines in either standard or free rhyme scheme. Composers frequently chose texts by major poets including Francesco Petrarca and Ludovico Ariosto.
Madrigals were a form of social play, and the best poems included vivid imagery and description with themes of love, sex, and wit that could charm, surprise, amuse, and entertain.
Most early madrigals were 4 voices, but by the mid-16th century, 5 voices became the rule, but six or more were not uncommon. Although madrigals were written mostly by males, some females, such as Veronica Franco, achieved fame as poets in the 16th century.
The first woman whose music was published and the first to be regarded as a professional composer was Madalena Cashmore. Many women began to rise as renowned singers, especially daughters and wives of nobility.
The leading madrigalists were native Italians, including Lucia Marenzio, who depicted feelings and visual details with artistry. Alongside madrigals, Italian composers cultivated lighter kinds of songs, including villanella, canzonetta, and balletta.
England had its own tradition of secular music in the 16th century as well.
Did you know that both Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn were musicians and composers?
Hi, I'm Indiana Jones. Manuscripts from his reign from 1509 to 1547 contain a variety of songs that reflect many facets of court life.
Gina, can I get some toilet paper?
Yeah, here you go.
This is a distinctively English genre for voice accompanied by an ensemble of viols. What?
William Byrd was a master at this and raised the bar. With skillful, imitative counterpoint in his collection of psalms, sonnets, and songs.
1588, Nicholas Young translated these Italian madrigals into English, sparking others in England to write their own madrigals.
Famous English madrigalists include Thomas Morley, Thomas Weelkes, and John Morley.
Along with madrigals, he wrote canzonets and ballads.
Madrigals, ballets, and canzonets were written primarily for unaccompanied solo voices.
Through many printed collections indicate the music is apt for voices and boils.
This flexibility made these publications ideal for informal gatherings, and the music was perfectly suited for amateurs.
In 1601, Morley published a collection of 25 madrigals by 23 composers modeled after a similar Italian anthology, Il Trionfo di Dori.
This collection was called the Triumphs of Oriana.
Each madrigal ends with the words, "Long live fair Oriana." This collection was intended to honor Anna of Denmark, the wife of King James the VI.
As Vesta Was by Weelkes was one of the most famous madrigals in the collection.
Word painting is the musical technique of writing music that reflects the literal meaning of a song.
For example, ascending scales would accompany lyrics about going up, and slow, dark music would accompany lyrics about death.
Word painting was such a strong tradition in the madrigal, and as a poet, Weelkes provided many opportunities for musical depiction. Go.
He capitalized on all of them. Rising scales for ascending, falling scales for descending and running down, and a melodic peak for a hill. In As Vesta Was, Weelkes treats the final phrase, "Long live fair Oriana," in a much less conventional way.
It is set to a motive that enters almost 50 times in all voices and in all transpositions possible in that mode, which suggests the acclamation of a vast people. This was both clever and meaningful. It also exemplifies a mixture of wit, wordplay, sentiment, contrapuntal skill, and pleasure for the singers that characterizes the best madrigals, English or Italian.
Thomas Morley wrote madrigals, canzonets, and ballets. In 1601, he published a collection of 25 madrigals written by 23 different composers. He titled this collection The Triumphs of Oriana, and each madrigal ends with the words, "Long live fair Oriana." For quite some time, it was assumed that Oriana was Queen Elizabeth, but more recent studies suggest it was meant for Anna of Denmark, the wife of King James VI. The lute song was a more personal genre than the madrigal, with more serious and literary texts. This type of music reflects the overall mood, and the accompaniments have rhythmic and melodic independence. The most famous Dolan lute song, "Flow My Tears," encompassed a whole new series of variations and arrangements. It is in the form of a pavane, which is a 16th century Italian professional dance with 3 repeated strains. The repeats make it difficult to express the words, but the music ends up matching the dark mood of the poetry.